start. So in the previous class we have talked about variables. Okay, so Ramchandra, you can mute yourself. If you have anything, you can unmute. Okay, thank you. So in the last class we were talking about variables. Okay, so what is a variable? The other day I just told you is if you assign a name to a set of data, okay, we call it as a variable. A name to a set of data. And then, okay, so how do we define the variable in Bash shell is equal to name is equal to data. And then, okay, so we have talked about, okay, so whenever you define a variable, where it goes into the deep into the memory, and into the memory, so you'll be having a process ID. Every process ID will be allocated some memory, and in that particular memory section, it is going to store this particular variable. Okay, you have a certain section where it usually uses for only for variables and functions. In that particular area it is going to store. Now, okay, so if you would like to unset a variable, so how do you access a variable? Okay, so if you would like to access a variable, so echo is to print actually, okay, and dollar to your variable name, you can see the data in that particular variable. So I told you the other day, so how it actually replaces that particular variable with the data. Okay, so and if you would like to unset the data in that particular variable, so usually we use unset name. So the other day I just shown you an example of rm command. It doesn't actually remove the data, so here also it just make that particular variable available. Okay, so in the index of list of variables actually, that's all. And after that, okay, so we have talked about, okay, so the properties of a variable. So what are the properties of variable we talked about? Is the first one is read write. So you have a variable as read write, and you can make it as read only by using read only command. So we used read only and that particular variable name. And the next one you have is local, and you can we have actually made it as environment variable by using export command. So what export command does is it puts the variable from local area to environment area. So once it puts the variable from local area to environment area, the child process getting created, the new child process which are there, which gets created, can access this particular variable. So means you're exporting to the new process IDs which are getting created as the present process ID as the parent process ID. And usually the export command, it actually the relation happens from parent to child, whereas if you would like to make it from child to parent, what you can do is you have a dot command and that particular script name. So if you use dot space script, it actually imports. Export command is going to export from parent to child, whereas if you would like to import from child to parent, so what we use dot command, or dot, or you can use source command also. Source script, both are same, absolutely same. There is no difference between them. Okay, so you can do either of the one and you can get it. Now in this today's class we are going to start about the another we are going to look into another property of a variable, so which is scalar. Another important point. Okay, so one which is scalar. What is the scalar? Let's see an example and then we'll talk about this. Okay, so I'm defining name is equal to, okay, so let's say I'm giving Rahu. Okay, so and if I are giving echo dollar name, you're getting the data. Whereas if you use name is equal to, let's say you're just putting as Ramu. So what happened? It simply overwrites. That we already know. Okay, because we talked about a property called as read write property. So any variable can be overwritten by default. The data in every variable can be overwritten by default. If you would like to make that particular variable to store multiple data, so what is happening here the data in this, at this particular point of time you are storing this value, and at this particular point of time you are storing this value. If you would like to store both the values in the same variable name, it is not possible. Okay, so that particular property is called as scalar. What is scalar? At any point of time you can access only one value. So at this point of time you're accessing this value, and at this point of time you're accessing this value, but you cannot access both the values because both are two different values. Okay, so now how can you store multiple values? If you would like to store multiple values in the same variable name, how do you do that? Okay, so how do we do that is nothing but by using a concept called as arrays. By using a concept called as arrays. What is an array? Array is nothing but if you would like to store multiple values in a single variable name, then we call that particular type of variable is called as arrays. Okay, so we usually, if you have a C language background, so in C language you have this particular concept which is arrays, which you are going to store multiple values in a single variable name. So here also we are going to do the same thing, right? Now usually, okay, so what we're doing in the previous situation is when we have a total memory. So let me write like this. So assume this is the total memory. So out of this particular total memory, so what I am doing is I am having a process ID. Out of this particular process ID, I have a certain area. Okay, I have a certain area for variables. Okay, so this particular variable is area is for variables. Out of this particular variables area, so you have two things actually. So one is local and anyhow another one is environment. That's fine. Now, so previously you are storing the variables so somewhere locally over here, right? And you are marking that particular variable as okay some xyz. So the variable name. Okay, so you are just going to mark that particular variable name and okay, so you're just putting the rub. Okay, so this is what you are doing. Now what we are going to do is in the same area, so this is the area I'm talking about. Okay, so in this particular area, okay, so this particular area, so how it is going to make it is, so yeah, so the same way data, so this is a variable name, so we know that. And here what I was doing is I was just writing in the previous scenario, I was writing Raghu. Now what happens is actually we're going to cut that particular variable into pieces now. So we just make it slices. The same variable area we're going to make it into slices. Okay, so on. Okay, so we are just going to variables into slices. Now how the slices can be differentiated with a thing called as index number. So the concept called as index number. What is the index number? So the index number of this one is 0 and the next one is 1 and the next one is 2 and so on. The index number is going to be n, 0 to n. Okay, so what is this particular index number? So usually the table, it's a table actually. The table is going to be something like this. So the table is going to be something like this and it is going to be like this. So sextant. Okay, so this name of variable of 0 is going to be this data and the same variable name of 1 is going to be this data. Okay, and the same variable name of 2 is going to be this data and so on, the data goes on. Okay, so it always depends upon 0 to n index number, call it as index. So using this particular index number we are going to cut that particular variable. So now, okay, so how do you define this particular array variable? Okay, it's as simple as defining like a normal variable. So I'm going to use like student, okay, of 0. So I'm going to use square brackets and in the square brackets I'm going to define a variable, define an index number and the name. So student of 0 is equal to Ram. That's all, pretty simple. And while accessing, it's as simple as, okay, so student of 0. but this is not the right thing. So while you are accessing an array variable, so you have to use flower braces. This is the actual syntax. This is the actual syntax. Okay, so enter. So you are getting the data. So let's say if you are giving one, so one index I have not stored anything, so you are going to get empty value. You are going to get empty value. So now you see, so student of, let's say I'm giving 100. I'm just missing all the values. I'm giving Raju. So what happens now? 100, you are getting the value, but if you see what you are doing, you are missing so many values, and somewhere over here in the 100th value you are storing here the new Raju. But no, that is not the way it's going to happen. So the index number will not make by default to 0 to n. 0 to n is only to tell you that there is no limitation in the index number. Okay, so but actually whenever the variable is defining whatever the index number you have mentioned, so index number and the data, index number and the data. So the index number you have mentioned is 100. So just after 0 the 100 index is going to be stored, and while accessing your shell will sort it out and you will get it. Okay, what is this sorting out? Let me show you like this. Student of, so student of 1 is equal to Rahul something. So now what happened is, okay, so it's not going to push the 100 variable to down, it actually, so it is going to put number 1 as this one and it is, but while accessing, okay, so your shell is going to sort it out based on the index number and you are going to get it. So how to get all the values? So you are using, okay, so index number, whereas if you would like to get all the values, you simply use star. So while star actually, while the order, while defining the order is Ramu, Raju and Rahul, but while accessing the order changes. The Ramu, Rahul and then Raju. Okay, so you don't require that much in depth in that particular variables. Okay, the only thing you need to understand is, okay, how do you define a variable, array variable, and how it actually happens. So it happens through an index number. Okay, so to get all the values, you can use star or you can use at the rate. Both is same. You can use star or you can use at the rate. Okay, you'll get all the values. Okay, now if you would like to get how many number of values are there, you simply put hash at the starting. Okay, with star or at the rate is going to give you 3 values. It's not giving as the 100 index is given. Okay, as 100 index is defined, it's not giving the values are 100. No, it's giving only simple 3 because you stored only 3 values. Okay, so this is about arrays actually. So let me write a small script for referencing purpose. So here, so here I'm going to define a variable. Okay, so student is equal to all the values. So previously what you had done, student of 0 equal to student of 1 equal to. If I don't want to go that way, okay, if I would like to define all the values at once, what I'll do is Ram, Raju, Rahul, Rama, Ravan. So something like this. Okay, so you have lot of values. So this is going to be by default student of 0, student of 1, student of 2, student of 3 and student of 4, and I'll print those things. So how do I print? I'm using single quote. So why I'm using single quotes is to print as is, no replacement. So in single quote there won't be any replacements. So you have practiced or not. So we already discussed what is the difference between single quotes and double quotes. I'm just giving one here and one here, and I'll just use star here, star at the rate, at the rate. Yeah, so I'll just modify these things. And this is at the rate, and this is also hash at the rate. So, okay, so you're just accessing 1 and 0 and 1 index here. You're accessing all the index values here. You're just accessing number of index here. Okay, and also you can access a range of index also. If you would like to access from 2 to 4, okay, if you would like to access from 2 to 4, so the syntax is going to be a little different thing. So dollar student of star colon. So from where you want to access, let's say I want to access from 2. From 2 to 4, how many number of values are there? So 2, 3, 4. So total 3 values. So from 2, I require 3 values. Okay, so I'm just using yeah, I'm just using equal to and student of, you can use star or at the rate, anything is fine. And here I'm using 2 colon 3. So I'm going to get the values from 2 to 4. 2 to 4 means 2, 3 and 4. Total 3 values. So here if I write, okay, so to get the range of values, then the syntax is dollar student of star colon x colon y. Okay, so it's a comment, so that's the reason I'm putting hash at the start. And so x stands for starting index from where you need the values, and whereas y stands for number of values from x index. Okay, so this is a little tricky part. Okay, it's not like a simple range you mentioned 2-4 or 2-3, not like that. Okay, it's a little tricky thing. So I'm just saving it, I'm running it. Okay, so script 7.sh need to provide executable permission. So you are getting 1, 0 is Ram, 1 is Raju, star is all the values, at the rate is also all the values. Okay, so 2 to 3 means, so starting from 2 here, okay, so this is 0, 1, 2, from 2 how many values? 3 values, 1, 2, 3, you are getting these 3 values, and if you see how many number of values are there in total, you are having 5. Okay, so this is about arrays. So array is also a scalar. Okay, so let me tell you like this, there are no two different variables. Okay, I didn't told you here you can convert scalar to arrays. No, that is not wrong, that is wrong actually. So here you are converting a read write variable to read only, you are converting a local variable to env, but you are not converting a scalar variable to array variable. No, so scalar is a type of property, okay, so which cannot be changed in variables. Okay, if it is an array or it's a normal variable. So clearly to tell you, okay, there are no two types of variables like normal variable and array variable. So you define name is equal to, okay, so Ramu. So then if you give echo dollar names, you are getting Ramu. At the same time, if you go and give echo dollar, so student, oh sorry, name of 0, what you are getting the same value. So whenever you define any variable, by default your shell is going to define an array variable in the backend with the default index number as 0. So if you don't specify any index number, by default you are going to get 0 index only. Okay, so and every array variable is also a scalar, means in the index number 0 you can store only one value. Again you cannot go and store multiple values. So that particular property is called as arrays. That particular property is called as arrays. Okay. So usually whenever you write some scripts, okay, if you would like to add number of users, so instead of putting all the values in a file, okay, so if you would like to put it in an array, might be users doesn't make any sense. Let's say a list of files you want to check each and every time. So how to put those list of files in a single variable? So you can just go with an array and you can put it in an array and you can use it. Okay, so like that situations, it is going to help you. So that's fine. Now we'll talk about other things what we have in array variables. Okay, so what are the other things you have is, let me show you an example and then we'll talk about. So what I'm going to do is /bin/bash. So what is today's date? Today's date is going to be 2016 0802. So this is today's date. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, sorry, I lost power actually. I just reconnected. So I'm just putting the date as I have just written here. So 2016 0802. This is today's date. I'll just write a statement echo good morning and echo. So what I'm going to put is today date is equal to $date. So this makes sense. Okay, so I'm just writing a script chmod script.sh, and if I execute that particular script, so I want to print some message and then I just want to print this today's date. So today date is perfectly fine. Okay, so now what happens? So script means if it is a one-time requirement, you never go and use scripting. Okay, you do it manually. I better suggest you to go and do manually if it is a one-time job. When we go with scripting is if you have a repetitive task, same task again and again, day by day, okay, so month by month, if you are doing the same kind of task, at least if it is some kind of repetitive task, then you go with scripting, then it is going to be helpful for you. So now here, okay, so I'm going to execute this particular script, so day by day, so means every day I'm going to get executed, or whenever the user wants, he'll execute the script, and whenever the user is executing, he'll be getting the same date. So tomorrow if I go and execute the same script, I'll get today's date. What is this? The script is completely wrong. My script is completely wrong, right? Okay, so if my script is dependent of this particular date, I'm getting a wrong date. Okay, so it's useless, and every day I cannot go and modify the script. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, the script may be used by multiple users, so all the users doesn't have writable permission on the script. Everyone cannot go and modify the scripts. Okay, so in that particular situation, so how do you usually handle this particular kind of data? Okay, so this data you are getting from a variable. Okay, if you would like to get the data into that particular variable, okay, dynamically, so what you have done in this particular script, you have done defining the data into this particular variable, okay, so manually, okay, in a static way, you have provided that data and it is static all the time. Okay, but if you would like to get this particular data dynamically, okay, so then it may be helpful for you. Yes, if I get the data, okay, somewhere dynamically, whenever I execute the script, I need to get the recent date. So how do I get the recent date? By using date command. How do you get it is by commands only. Okay, so we'll go and use this particular command, okay, to get the dynamic data into the variables. Okay, so the defining of variables till now we have seen is a static kind of way, and now we are going to define the variable in two different ways. Okay, so the one is command substitution and the other one is arithmetic substitution. So command substitution and arithmetic substitution. So command substitution, how do you get the data? So you simply give variable equal to, so previously used to give data, now I'm not going to use data, I'm going to run command. So how do you run? Okay, so commands. So whatever the output you are going to get from this particular commands, it is going to store into this particular variable, that's all. Or you can also use a command codes. Okay, so and you can use command. So by this way, okay, you can get the data from command and you can store it in a variable, and wherever you want you can use that particular one. Okay, so let's say, okay, a script needs to be run only by root user. How do you check? How do you get who is executing that particular script? So how do you check whoever the user logged in, whoever the, okay, so he is checking. How do you check? Simply by using id command, or let's say id-u. So id-u, okay, has to be a 0 if it is a root user. So I'm going to place a condition that, okay, id-u, I'm going to put it in a variable, and this value I'm going to compare it with another value which is nothing but equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, then only I'll continue, otherwise I'll stop it there. Okay, so in that case I am going to use id command to get the dynamic value, dynamic data. Okay, so here in this case I'm going to use a date variable. So I'll just comment it and equal to, so date. Okay, so date command you, but with a particular syntax I'm going to use. Okay, so what is date %f is going to give you is the format I have used, right? So I'm going to get this particular format, that's all. Okay, so dates place hyphen help, if you give you'll understand, but I'll just show you this directly. Okay, so this is the syntax I'm going to get. So script 8.sh, yes, you're able to get it. You just go and execute the same script tomorrow, you'll get the tomorrow's date basically, that's all. Okay, so that is how, so usually, okay, get the data dynamically by using arithmetic substitution. And the second one you have is first one is command substitution, and the second one you have is arithmetic substitution. Okay, so what is this arithmetic substitution? Okay, so if you have any arithmetic equation, okay, so you just put it there and it is going to substitute. What is the arithmetic substitution can be? If you would like to add two numbers, so I'll just give 1 plus 2. So 1 plus 2 is going to be an arithmetic operation, and the output of this particular arithmetic operation will go and store it in add variable. Okay, so if you give add is equal to dollar 1 plus 2, so echo dollar add, what is 1 plus 2? 3 value is went to that particular variable. So you have other ways of doing, okay, so this particular arithmetic operations. So I have already given that particular PDF to you. Okay, you can just access the PDF and you will so this PDF has the other methods of doing the arithmetic operation. Okay, you can just give it a try, so that's fine. And let me write a small script. So my complete next topics demonstration is going to be on this particular concept. Okay, so which is arithmetic operation. So we take every topic and we'll see how can we improve this particular basic script. Okay, so what is the basic script I'm going to write? It is the arithmetic operation, like straightforward way. So I'm just giving add is equal to, or let's say I'll do something like this. A is equal to 10, B equal to 5. Okay, so I'm just giving add equal to $A plus $B means $A is 10, $B is 5. It is going to get replaced. And if you give echo addition equal to $add, so you're defining a variable and you're accessing the variable. Whereas if it is a one-time requirement, you don't need to define the variable. You can directly put it like this: $A minus $B. So echo, so the next one I'm going to use is multiply $A into $B. $B. So I'll just give so you're getting the values. So okay, so from next class, okay, this is all about variables. From next class, what are the topics we are taking actually? Okay, so we'll use this particular okay, so we'll use this same script again and again. We'll apply each and every topic and we see how our scripts are improving actually. Okay, now you simply take I want to calculate the free memory available on the system. So how do you calculate the free memory available on the system? So you have to use free -m. So free -m is always the dummy data. I cannot actually, okay, actual values I'll not get. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so proc meminfo. So here the proc meminfo, so the total memory is this one. Okay, so or else I'll take this one only. Okay, I'll go with free -m instead of explaining each and everything in that file. I'll just go with free -m. I want to calculate how much percentage of free memory is there. Okay, so total memory is 992, whereas free memory is 684. So how do you calculate how much is the free memory? So let me show you like this. I'm not sure how do you calculate, but I usually calculate like this. So how I'm going to calculate is, yeah. So how much is the total memory? So I have total 992. So 992 is 100%. So what is, okay, so what is about 684 is how much percent? I'll put like this. Then the mathematic equation is going to come like this. So it requires basic mathematics knowledge. That's all. So equal to means, okay, question mark equal to. So how it is going to, I mean, if you have a small equation like this, how you are going to do it? So 992 into question mark is equal to 100 into 681 and question mark equal to, so 100 into 681 by 992. So then you get the value. So let me see how do I get the value. So you see CLC 992 into, oh sorry, 100 into 681 by 992. So how much is the free memory available? 68% is the free memory available. Okay, so if you would like to calculate how much is the consumed, so what you are going to do, you simply replace 681 with what is the used one, so 100. So 102 into 100 by 992. So the 10% is actually consumed. the remaining amount actually it went to the caged one. Okay, so that's fine. So now let me do the small script to calculate the value and just display how much percentage is free. Okay, so how do I do that? I'll just write a calculate free data set. Okay, so slash bin slash, see, it's all the thing is we talk about the each and every concept, so it's always up to you how do you apply it. Okay, so logic I cannot teach you, logic should come from you. Okay, so that's the reason people are looking for shell scripting, so who can make a logics. Okay, if that also can be automated, you won't get a job, right? So systems cannot make a logic, systems only can react basically. Okay, so it won't actually proact, they always react. So whatever the instruction you send, it performs that one. It won't decide what instruction can be sent. Okay, automatically. So that's the way we are, okay, still in the market. So now how do I get the free memory value? So free memory is free, if I would like to get, so free -m pipe grep for arc we can use directly arc and search for cap mem and print $2. You're going to get free memory and $3 total memory, and you get free memory by using $4. So these are the two values. So here I'm going to use the same thing. So I'm just going to use total. So I'll just put a variable which makes some sense, variable names which make some sense. So this is my command substitution variable, and what is available, AVL available is equal to the same thing with the $4. Now how do I get the calculate of percentage? Percent equal to $ABL into 100. So firstly what I am doing, $ABL into 100. So I am doing some arithmetic operation, right? So out of this particular operation, okay, I don't want to make you confused. Okay, so that's the reason I'm using PER again. The variable is override property. Okay, so $PER by $total. So I'm doing two steps. I can do it in a single step. I just want to. Okay, so finally total memory, free memory percentage equal to $PER percentage. Okay, I'll just try and execute. So you got 68%. So that is how, okay, so we use it. So if you put the same script on another server, okay, so you'll get it. Or else what we can do, okay, so I mean to calculate, you can give free is equal to, okay, 992. If you put a static values, the same cannot be applicable on the other script. And again, free memory always changes based on the programs running on the system. So you need data dynamically. So you need to get the live data. So how do you get it? So through command substitution in variables, so you get the data and use those values, and wherever you want, you use that particular values. Okay.